Good morning. So I am up here in my sunrise spot, and as promised, I'm going to teach you the Qigong exercise that I do every morning with the rising sun called Kaleidomony. I learned it from my teacher Robert Pang in I think 2016 at a practitioner's training in New York. So it has since become one of my favorites. I love to do it with the rising sun. You could do this practice with the sun at any time of day. Actually, you could do this practice when the sun is behind the clouds. You could even do this practice with the moon and the moonlight. And what we are doing is bringing the natural light in through the third eye or the brow point, and through looping it through 3 different pathways in the body. So powerful practice. When I first learned this practice, I brought it home from New York and I was practicing on our back patio in Colorado up Sunshine Canyon outside of Boulder, where we lived at the time. And I was in the zone in my meditative, trance or space, and a bird literally flew right into my head, like smacked me in the head. And I, snapped out of my meditation and didn't even know what it was, and looked around, and there was this bird kind of drunkenly stumbling around on the ground, and then she sort of got herself together and flew away. But powerful practice, and I love to do it in the mornings, especially with the sunrise, because the full spectrum of light is so available and so gentle that you can actually stare right into the light of the sun, and you just see the beautiful rainbow of colors fractaling off of that. So the first loop of energy is in through the third eye, the brow point. So just between the brows or slightly above, depending on you. You bring the energy down through the heart, the shoulders, out the arms, out the Gong point, the center of the palm here, which is a fire point on the pericardian meridian, and back to the sun. So it's a full circle. So from the sun, you're bringing that light in through the third eye, down through the arms, out the hands, and back to the sun. You notice the way I'm holding my hands, the fingers are straight except for the middle finger, which I bend and then reach kind of slightly forward and up, and you'll feel that stretches the center of the palm. So the hands are going to be up, collecting the light of the sun, and then we're moving the light through that loop of energy with our mind. So we say the mind leads the chi. Now, the last thing we're doing is chanting this nonsense word, Kaleidomony. And it doesn't mean anything. The reason we say Kaleidomony is that it includes all of the articulation points in the mouth, and especially the palate. So we're opening up the palate and all of that articulation. So ka, the stop in the back of the palate. Lai is using the tongue, right, up against the back of the teeth. The D is a stop in the forward part of the palate, Kalaida, and then the M with the lips, and the N again is with the tongue behind the teeth up against the palate. So Kaleidomony. And we chant that word every time we move this energy through 49 times. So 49 times through the loop of energy, and then 49 times reversed. So that's the first loop. 49 might sound like a lot, but actually it goes pretty quickly. And I sort of count, I use my voice to create a little cadence so that I can, it helps me keep count, helps me keep better count. So I would say, for example, here comes the sun. Kaleidomony, 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 Kaleidomony. And there's this little cadence that helps me keep track. So that was 10, right? And then I would go on to 20, 30, 40, and 49. So I love the way Robert teaches this. He says, if you lose track and you lose count, don't worry about it. He says 25, 37, 72, 64, just, say, okay, 49, and then move on. So if you do lose count, it's not the end of the world. Just keep going. Okay, that's the first loop. The second loop is through the brow point, down the central channel, the midline of the body, and then out the perineum, back to the sun, 49 times, and then reverse. The third pathway loop of energy is in through the third eye, down the entire length of the body, the legs, out the soles of the feet, back to the sun, and then reverse. In through the soles of the feet, up the body, out the third eye, and back to the sun. And here she comes. It's so glorious. So we'll go ahead and get started. So you will start with your feet hip width distance apart and parallel. So you just want to make sure that your feet are not turned out. We'll unlock the knees, so you're not bending the knees, but the knees are unlocked. And in fact, I'm gonna take my hat off so that the sun can really bathe my face in its glorious light. And okay, so standing nice and tall, shoulders relaxed. So setting up your standing posture as you would for any practice. I'm on a little bit of a hill, so I've got a little bit of a wonky stance, but I'm just working with my circumstances and getting as stable a stance as possible. And then to begin our practice, we'll bring the hands up, stretching the Lao Gong point in the center of the palm. And just take a moment to take in the purifying, healing light of the sun. And then we'll begin our Kaleidomonis. So first pathway of light, in through the third eye, down through the heart, shoulders, and arms, out the Lao Gong point, the center of the palm, back to the sun. Kaleidomoni, 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 Kaleidomoni. 49. You can say Kaleidomoni as quietly or as loudly or at whatever rhythm you please, as long as you're saying it out loud. So you're not just thinking it internally, you're actually articulating the word. Reverse from the sun, in through the palms of the hands, back through the heart, up to the third eye, and back to the sun. Kaleidomoni, 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 Kaleidomoni. 49, I think. So now bringing the hands down, you could leave the hands up and continue to collect the sun with the hands up like so. I prefer to bring them down when I move on to the second pathway. Light now in through the brow point, down the midline, the central channel, exiting out the perineum and back to the sun. Kaleidamoni, 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 49. So I'm not sure if you can see my hands in the video, probably not. They're still palms facing forward and still opening that Lao Gong point just down by my sides. Reverse in through the perineum, up the midline, the central channel of the body, out the brow point, and back to the sun. Kaleidamoni, 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 49. Last pathway of light. We're going to come in through the brow point, the third eye, down the length of the body, into the legs, out the soles of the feet, and back to the sun. Kaleidamoni, 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 49. Reverse, last loop, in through the soles of the feet, up through the body and out the third eye, back to the sun. Kaleidamoni, 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 kaleidamoni. 49. And the sun has snuck behind some clouds, but that's okay. So we have all this beautiful chi, this energy from the sun, healing, purifying energy from the sun in the palms of our hands. And you can place that energy, place your palms anywhere where you feel you would like some extra healing, anywhere on your body. And then we'll take prayer position with the hands. Bring the hands up to the level of the third eye. And thank the light for the healing, for this big, beautiful blessing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And now palm over palm, bringing the practice to a close. We'll seal the energy into the lower dantian, which is 2 to 3 fingers below the navel. So, not sure if you can see, but I've got my hands palm over palm on the low belly. And the top hand, I create a lock with middle finger and thumb so that I can relax and totally release the shoulders and the elbows. And just pulsing 3 times in to the body. 1, 2, 3, to seal the practice. And then with palm and flat hand, we'll bring the feet together. Thank you for practicing Kaleidamoni with me this morning.